Welcome back everyone to another NRG, a modern NRG. I love doing these sometimes, especially with a game that I'm rather excited about. And there's a lot of buzz going around this game, of course. It is Streets of Rage 4, the long-awaited Streets of Rage 4. 25 years in the making, I believe, for an official sequel to Streets of Rage 3. Back in 1994 that was released, would you believe it? So yeah, 1991 Streets of Rage 1, 1992 the amazing Streets of Rage 2, of course, which fabled, famous game. Streets of Rage 3 in 1994, and fast forward all the way to 2020, and we finally get a sequel, Streets of Rage 4, or Bare Knuckle 4 if you're in Japan. And we've got a lot of the familiar faces back, especially the two lead characters, Axel and Blaze, looking rather spectacular in this game, I must admit. So, what should we make of this? I mean, you get a lot of the time you will find that these sort of reimaginations of classic games are not all what they're cracked up to be. Is Streets of Rage 4 what it's supposed to be, or what you expect it to be? Fuck yes, it is. It's bloody good. It's very, very good. One of the finest scrolling beat-em-ups I've played in recent years. Certainly modern scrolling beat-em-ups. It's taken all the amazing tropes. From the original games and putting a modern twist on it, but not overly modernising it. And I think that's the key. Not making it too over the top. Add in the right amount of new features. Add in the right amount of great art style. I think to be honest, this art style has been a bit of a contention amongst some fans. I personally think this art style is really nice. It's not quite full-on anime, but it's got that sort of hybrid comic book anime look to it, which I think works really well. There's a touch of cel shading going on in there as well. I think it's a really, really nice art style that fits the genre really well. I think it marries up with a lot of the comic books as well, the spin-off comic books of the original games too. And the reimagination of Wood Oak City, I think, is pretty much spot on. Here's our heroes. So we've got Axl Rose there. Axl Rose? No. Guns N' Roses aren't back. Axl Stone, that's his name. Blaze Fielding, of course. And Cherry Hunter, who is the daughter of Adam Hunter from the first game, who also features in this game, which is basically a female variant of the Skate character from Streets of Rage 2 and 3. And then you've got Floyd Urari, I can't pronounce his surname, but Floyd Urari, who's essentially a Max-type character, big and bulky and slow but very powerful, but also with cybernetic arms. So imagine Jax from Mortal Kombat merging with Max from Streets of Rage 2, and you get Floyd. That's essentially what you get. And here we are in very familiar territory. So it looks, feels, it has that sort of feel of Streets of Rage about it. The movement is exactly what you would expect from a Streets of Rage game. But the graphical detail is so, I think is amazing. I think some of the lighting effects are really clever and really subtle. I'm getting stabbed by these guys there. Galagia, or Galzia. All the names are back. Y-Signal, Donovan, they're all back. All the cloner mat enemies. You have all that background graphics, all the lighting effects on the floor, the reflections of the water, little things like the bird flying away there. All these little things are really, really cleverly done, and they're so subtle. They're not in your face, so they don't ruin the experience for you, but they enhance the experience to a right degree. And I think that is actually a very clever little feat that's pulled off here. Apart from all the callbacks as well, there's loads of callbacks to the original 3 games as well, which is what the fans want, isn't it? Give them what they want. Give them what they want. And lots of secrets to unlock and everything else. But we're not going to divulge too much into all that, because, find that out for yourself. I'm getting stabbed by this guy. Go away. Bang. Thank you very much. So, yeah, the familiar moves are all back for the main characters, Blaze and Axel and all the others. And so you've got the Blitz move, you've got your standard punches and kicks, you've got your all-around hit everyone move, which takes a little bit of energy from you, then the forward version of that, back punches, counters, and a myriad of throws, and a new thing, a super punch, a powerful super punch, which you can combine into combos. The element of adding combos to this, I think, is actually really clever, and you can actually come up with some ingenious stuff going on if you know what you're doing. I generally don't, but there we go. I'm just playing this through with Blaze just to sort of like give you a taste of things. As always, there is an epic soundtrack going on. I don't think it's quite on par with the excellence of Streets of Rage's 2 soundtrack, but you can switch to the retro soundtrack if you wish. In the options, you can actually switch on the soundtracks from 1, 2 and 3. I think it's all, I think they merge it together. How many levels we've got on this? 13 levels I think there is, and there's a couple of secret bonus levels which go into 16-bit mode as well if you know where you're going and know what to hit at the right point with the right item. Plenty of weaponry going on. In fact, the level of weaponry on this is amazing. There's so many different little funny little things you can pick up. You know, the usual, you know, pipes, knives, they're back. But you've got meat cleavers and hammers and street signs, and it's all pretty fun. An engine. At one point you can pick up a motorcycle engine and hit someone with it. I mean, genius. Absolutely genius. Oh yeah, that's another thing you can do. Throw an item and then catch it in midair. How cool is that? Oh damn, I just got hit by a car. That wasn't good. So it adds these new elements, but also at the same time doesn't take away anything that the original gave us. I think that's the trick it pulls off. If you get familiar with the art style, if you get used to the art style, then you're happy with it. I certainly am happy with it. I wasn't disappointed the moment I booted this up. I think it's a £20 well spent on the PlayStation 4. This is the PlayStation 4 version. Of course, it's also available on the Xbox One, the Switch and PC. So I think the fans will be very happy with Streets of Rage 4. It seems to be going down a storm, and maybe possibly even, who knows, a Streets of Rage 5 possibly down the line a couple of years on? Who knows? I mean, it might have given new birth, new breadth, new air to the franchise. I mean, it could have, you know, we've been waiting for it for a long enough time. And I think it satisfies. I certainly think it satisfies. There's lots of different new enemies in this as well. I tell you what, there is in this. There's loads of female enemies, which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that there's a considerable amount of, I mean, especially if you're playing as a male character, you are hitting a lot of women. So, you know, well done, Streets of Rage. Very, very focused towards true equality there. I like it. I like it. Everyone gets hit. Oh, this robot dude is annoying as hell. So he's like a variant of Zamza from the first 2 games. Got like a variant of that enemy. The storyline, by the way, I haven't even touched on the storyline. Essentially, the storyline is, so Mr. X is dead, properly dead this time, not a brain in a jar. He's properly dead. But his kids, his twin children, have taken over the crime in Wood Oak City, and they are the Y twins. Of course they are. And so you're essentially they're doing a Joker-style plan to brainwash the populace, brainwash the police, corrupt the police, and all that kind of stuff. So look at that background there. That's pretty dystopian background there. I love this guy here. These guys, I love the guy up the top there with his hands in his pockets. Dylan, there he is. And there's a couple of variants of him. He's a bit like, I don't know if you watch wrestling a lot, but there's a wrestler called Orange Cassidy, and he walks around with his hands in his pockets like that. And he fights with his hands in his pockets. It's exactly like the wrestler Orange Cassidy does. So it reminds me of that character in real life, as it were. Well, not real, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Walking around with his top off as well, with green long hair. How cool is that? Very relaxed. So you've got hazards on the floor and everything. I tell you what, yeah, the combination of all the new stuff is excellent. I would say the difficulty is a little bit over the top at some points. The first couple of levels are fine. Some of the bosses, I think, are pretty ridiculously overly hard, especially on the harder difficulty levels. Played it easy's fine. I'm playing this on normal, which is just about right, but I say parts of it can be very, very tricky indeed. To sort of like get your beat 'em up head on. But anyway, that is Streets of Rage 4 on the PlayStation 2. I will leave it there. Thank you for watching. Get this game, it's great. Novabug, out. Hey, Novabug here. I do hope you enjoyed this video. Please support the channel by liking and commenting, and of course subscribing if you haven't already done. If you would like to support me further, please consider joining my bug army via Patreon. And also don't forget to follow me over at Facebook, Twitter, BitChute and Twitch. And finally, a very special mention to my Bug Army generals Sam M, Sweet Nanook and Craig Harrison. Thank you everyone for supporting me. Novabug out.